when the Emperor decided to banish me to the cold palace. I heard his thoughts. How annoying! I can't sleep with the Empress tonight. Why won't the Empress beg me? Hurry and beg me, and I'll revoke the order immediately. Can I also live in the cold palace? Noble Consort Song's father accused my father of treason and colluding with the enemy. He even presented a stack of confidential letters. It is said that His Majesty was furious upon reading them and immediately imprisoned my father. Meanwhile, he sealed the Prime Minister's mansion and sent my mother, brother, and sister-in-law to join my father in the Imperial Judiciary Prison. In the evening, the royal carriage arrived at the Empress's palace. Shizhuan stood before me, hands behind his back, his cold gaze upon me. Eunuch Li finished reading the decree to banish me to the cold palace, handing me the golden yellow scroll. As I knelt to receive the decree, I suddenly heard Shizhuan's voice. How annoying! I can't sleep with the Empress tonight. Why won't the Empress beg me? Hurry and beg me, and I'll revoke the order immediately. Can I also live in the cold palace? I looked up in surprise, but Shizhuan still had the same expression as before. As I lowered my head, the voice came again. What's wrong with the Empress? Beg me! Beg me! Beg me! I've been standing here for so long. Can't you see me? The cold palace is nowhere as good as the Empress's palace. She surely isn't planning to actually go there, is she? So I tentatively spoke up. Your Majesty? Shizhuan immediately looked at me, a trace of expectation on his face. What does the Empress wish to say? I gratefully accept your decree. The next mother end, Shizhuan's voice came again. What decree are you thanking for? Quickly tell me you don't want to go to the cold palace. Empress, you mustn't be foolish. There's nothing in the cold palace, especially no me. Yet, I hadn't seen him move his lips, so was I hearing Shizhuan's thoughts? A maid silently gathered some bedding, preparing to accompany me to the cold palace. Shizhuan had not left yet, just standing aside and watching coldly. As I passed him with my belongings, he suddenly reached out to stop me. Is the Empress preparing to enjoy her time in the cold palace? I turned to look back. Each maid was carrying a load with bedding, heaters, and food boxes. I was supposed to reflect on my faults in the cold palace, bringing these truly seemed somewhat inappropriate. Chun Tao put the food box back. Chun Tao reluctantly returned the food box to the palace. Just as she left, Shizhuan's voice emerged again. Bringing so much stuff and not taking me, am I not important? No, wait, I've been dazed by anger. How can I compare myself to these items? I'll push her a bit more. She'll beg me soon. Empress, this gold-threaded quilt is a foreign tribute. It's not suitable to take to the cold palace, is it? I looked at the bedding Xiehe was holding. Hesitatingly, I said, Your Majesty, I'll freeze to death in the cold palace. After speaking, I slightly furrowed my brow. You're begging me just for bedding. Empress, beg for something else. I really don't want to sleep alone. I have 100 gold-threaded quilts in my storeroom. I'll give them all to you. It's all because of the Prime Minister. Why bother with colluding and treason? Your Majesty, if there's nothing else, I shall head to the cold palace now. I had been married to Shizhuan since we were still young for 10 years. This is the first time something strange like this has happened, where I can hear someone's thoughts. Perhaps if I just asked him, he would let me stay. But my father committed the grave crime of colluding with the enemy. I couldn't bring myself to ask. It's better to just honestly stay in the cold palace. To be honest, I also didn't understand. My father was doing so well as the Prime Minister. How did he end up like this? As I exited the gate of the Empress's palace, I heard Shizhuan's thoughts again. If the Empress won't beg me, I'll rely on myself. Tonight, I'll climb over the wall into the cold palace. After nightfall, Shizhuan indeed climbed the wall into the cold palace. He probably didn't expect that I wasn't asleep yet, sitting on the bed edge watching him suddenly barge in. We stared at each other, wide-eyed. It's over! It's over! It's over! The mighty Emperor caught climbing the wall into the cold palace. Let me think how to explain this. He cleared his throat awkwardly, his face showing discomfort. I just came to see if the Empress is reflecting properly in the cold palace. It's been 2 hours since we parted ways. Why does she look like she doesn't miss me at all? The Empress's heart is so cruel. She doesn't care if I can sleep tonight. Could it be the Empress who is colluding with the enemy? Maybe she has taken a liking to another country's emperor? I must find a chance to destroy them. Hearing Szechuan's bold words, I almost laughed out loud. I managed to hold it in. Your Majesty, it's getting late. Please return and rest early. Rest? How can I rest? Do you understand how hard it is to sleep alone on a cold pillow? Heaven above, tell me, is there any reason I can stay here rightfully? The window was open, and a breeze unexpectedly blew out the candle on the table. Szechuan looked at me with eyes shining like stars. Empress, I remember you're afraid of the dark. Shall I? Your Majesty, I'm not afraid of the dark. The candle was meant to be extinguished anyway. I'm afraid of the dark. If you don't, then I will be the one afraid of the dark. The Empress's chamber is both cold and dark without you. How can I sleep? It's so tough for me, the ruler of a nation, to not even be able to sleep with the Empress. What a sin I've committed. Szechuan left angrily. He didn't watch his step on the way out and bumped into the doorframe. I'll have that doorframe removed tomorrow. It's so annoying. That night I slept under the gold-threaded quilt, but not very well. I dreamed that Szechuan was chasing me with a large cleaver, threatening to chop me up to make pillows. He chased me all night long. As dawn was breaking, Chuntao sneaked back with some stolen breakfast from the imperial kitchen. I was eating steamed buns and drinking pumpkin soup, contemplating whether I should go back to sleep for a bit. Xiahe hurried over. Chuntao scolded her. Slow down, look at your rush. Xiahe took a sip of water. Your Majesty, I heard the palace staff say, His Majesty had a big temper tantrum in the court this morning. Chuntao curiously widened her eyes. Did you find out the reason? Xiahe shyly shook her head. I calmly drank the last bit of soup in my bowl. It's probably just his morning mood. Szechuan always has a big temper when he doesn't sleep well. I wonder if he managed to sleep last night at all. It was the first night since our marriage that we didn't sleep in the same bed. Even the night when Noble Consort Song entered the palace, he stayed in my chamber. Noble Consort Song was so angry she smashed several high-quality jade vases. His Majesty has arrived. Hearing Eunuch Li's voice, I hurriedly instructed Chuntao and Xiahe to clean up the leftover breakfast on the table. If it was discovered, it wouldn't be easy to steal next time. Just after cleaning up, a golden yellow figure appeared before me. Did the Empress sleep well last night? I bowed to Szechuan. Quite well. Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty. She actually slept quite well. I did not. I didn't sleep at all. Hearing the familiar voice, I subconsciously raised my head to look at Szechuan. If I hadn't looked, I wouldn't have been startled. His face was full of anger with dark circles under his eyes. The Empress doesn't care at all about me. I look like a ghost now. She doesn't care what happened to me at all. No, I must sleep with the Empress tonight. If I don't sleep, I'll die. Your Majesty, I looked at Szechuan and suddenly spoke up. What does the Empress want to say to me? Is she finally going to care about me? Hurry up and say it. I'm dying of anxiety. I'm the anxious king. I held back a laugh. Did Your Majesty just finish the morning court? Have you eaten? Szechuan paused. No. As he said that, his stomach growled in perfect harmony. Shall I accompany Your Majesty for a meal? I winked at him. The small steamed buns and gourd soup that Chuntao had stolen weren't enough, and I was still hungry. Szechuan's face darkened. How could I, the dignified emperor, eat breakfast in the cold palace? This hint should be clear enough, right? Empress, hurry and beg me to take you out of the cold palace. Once out, you can eat 8 meals a day. I don't believe the Empress, who loves to eat, won't be tempted. It's a bet. If I win, the Empress is immediately in my arms tonight. But I'm hungry. I will die if I don't eat. I pursed my lips, my eyes downcast. Eunuch Li, serve the meal. Szechuan gritted his teeth. So annoying. Does the Empress know that I have no way to deal with her? She always manipulates me like this. If I hadn't heard Szechuan's thoughts, I wouldn't have realized over all these years that he truly catered to every request of mine, just always with a dark face. Turns out, he's not honest with his feelings. What is the Empress thinking? It looks like she loves me even more now. Szechuan muttered nonstop in his mind. In front of me, the table was already filled with dishes from the imperial kitchen. Ice sugar stewed bird's nest, steamed duck paste, bamboo roll, pine nut lily crisp, Fire fungus pastry. Father, please don't collude or betray the country. Your daughter really wants to eat these every day. After finishing a whole plate of pine nut lily crisps, I noticed that Xie hadn't even touched his chopsticks. Why isn't your majesty eating? It's all been eaten by you. How can I eat? Why does the Empress look at these foods with deeper affection than she looks at me? I'm full just from anger. I can't eat. I looked at the empty dish in my hand and fell silent. Xie suddenly stood up. I still have matters to handle, Empress. Please continue eating. After speaking, he left so quickly that I didn't even have time to see him off. Why didn't the Empress stop me? It's terrible. I have to sleep alone again tonight. If it rains now, those are all my tears. I finally couldn't help but laugh out loud. Qintao and Xiahe looked at me with puzzled faces. I waved my hand. Pack up the rest, and remember to steal some lunch from the Imperial kitchen later. Xie didn't come to the Cold Palace again that afternoon. When it was almost dark, I took a bag of snacks, including several stolen buns, and sneaked out of the palace under the cover of night. When I reached the entrance of the Imperial Judiciary Prison, surprisingly, no guards were present. It really seemed like heaven was helping me. But this Imperial Judiciary Prison was too big. I spent a good long time searching, but couldn't find my parents or brother and sister-in-law. Just as I stood at a crossroad pondering whether to go left or right, a light suddenly appeared. Scared, I immediately hid in the nearby bushes. Did you hear? The furthest cell. That's where the Empress's father is held. Imagine, he's both the Prime Minister and the Emperor's father-in-law. How could he still be so thoughtless as to collude with the enemy? You can't figure it out, neither can I. My father's sudden accusation of colluding with the enemy was really too abrupt. Thanks to these two prison guards, I was able to find my parents and brother successfully. The four of them sat in a row, with their backs to me. They were shaking their heads and swaying their bodies. I couldn't tell what they were doing. I looked around. No one was nearby. I sneakily knocked on the cell door 6 times. 3 long, 3 short. After knocking, I raised the bag I was carrying. Father, mother, brother, and sister-in-law, I brought food for you. Only to see my parents and brother and sister-in-law turn around, each with a mouthful of sauce. My parents and brother reacted quickly, immediately hiding what was in their hands. Only my silly sister-in-law, holding a shiny, oily, big pork knuckle, cheerfully greeted me. Yangxin is here. I smiled and turned to leave. Why do they have such good food in prison? I don't even have a pork knuckle to gnaw on. Yangxin! Wait! My brother called me back. I stopped and turned to look at him. Brother, are you reluctant to part with me? No, just put down what's in your hands before you leave. I was wrong to trust him. It's all because of the pork knuckle. It smelled too good, and it made me dizzy. On the way back to the palace, my mind was filled with the image of that sauce-covered pork knuckle, soft and juicy. Because of that, I took the wrong gate back to the palace. After several turns, I suddenly didn't recognize the path anymore. I could only rely on my memory to head towards the brightly lit direction. Half an hour later, I stood at the familiar gate of the Empress's palace, completely distressed. Luckily, the palace was dark and quiet, with no one in sight. It seems Xie must have stayed in the Yangxin palace. I really couldn't hold on anymore. I was too tired and sleepy, and I stumbled onto the bed and fell asleep. In my half-asleep, half-awake state, the mattress beside me sank down, and I was pulled into a familiar embrace. The scent of aloes wood made me want to snuggle closer. This scent is nice. I'll have Qintao steal some back tomorrow to fumigate the cold palace too. I dreamt that Xie turned into a dog, circling around me and refusing to leave. The next day I had just woken up, my eyes not yet open, when Xie voice already drifted over. The Empress smells so nice and soft. I like it so much. I finally slept well again. Without the Empress, I really can't live. Yesterday afternoon, those old geezers actually suggested that I depose the Empress. Isn't that just asking for my life? Luckily, I scolded them all back to their senses. I'm so mighty. It's not too much to hold the Empress for a while, right? Not too much, I mentally replied to him. But he's held on for too long. I need to use the restroom. So I pretended to just wake up, slowly opening my eyes. Good morning, Your Majesty. Xishuan's smile froze on his face. It's not morning anymore. I need to go to court. After saying that, he got up from the bed and began dressing. Why isn't the Empress helping me dress? She wasn't like this before. Does she not love me anymore? Your Majesty, Xishuan paused. I knew it. The Empress still loves me. Could you step aside? I need to use the restroom. Otherwise, I will die. There are 3 urgent needs, and I really couldn't hold it in anymore. I pushed Xishuan away and quickly rushed toward the restroom. Behind me, Xishuan's voice gradually faded. The Empress must be treating me this way because I arrested the Prime Minister. I need to work harder. Clear the Prime Minister's name as soon as possible. The sooner I clear his name, the sooner the Empress will return to my side. The nights without the Empress are too hard to bear. I never want to experience that again. What excuse can I find to sleep with the Empress tonight? Xuan actually wants to clear my father's name? He really believes my father isn't guilty of colluding with the enemy? Before heading back to the cold palace, I casually stole a few buns from the imperial kitchen. Today's buns were filled with carrot and lamb, and I could smell the fragrance from afar. Qintao and Xiahe were playing shuttlecock in the cold palace courtyard and hurriedly came over to take the buns from my hands. I took a sip of tea and they had already eaten all but one. By the way, Your Majesty, His Majesty came looking for you again last night. I and Xiahe told him you had gone to bed after dinner. I decided not to tell Qintao the truth, to spare her the nightmares of being beheaded for deceiving the emperor. Life in the cold palace is quite boring. I sat in the courtyard practicing calligraphy. Qintao and Xiahe embroidered new patterns beside me. It's been a long time since I last held a brush, and my arm was sore after a while. Qintao, did you bring the white flower oil gifted from the western regions? I think so. I'll go look for it. Qintao casually massaged my arm. Your Majesty, what shall we eat tonight? The scent of the white flower oil made me drowsy, my mind not quite clear. We'll eat whatever the imperial kitchen has. Shen Yunqing, do you think this is a traveling palace? Suddenly a sharp voice rang out, stinging my ears. Noble consort song arrived with the Empress Dowager, bursting in with great Mother Entum. I knelt behind the Empress Dowager with Qintao and Xiahe, greeting her. We knelt for a long time without her instructing us to rise. I quietly raised my head to look. The Empress Dowager surveyed the surroundings and snorted coldly. The Prime Minister colluded with the enemy, and the Emperor spared you from being deposed out of old affection. How can the Empress be so carefree in the cold palace? Since the Empress doesn't understand the rules, she should kneel here and reflect. The Empress Dowager is not Xishuan's biological mother. Xishuan's biological mother was the previous emperor's first wife, who passed away early, leaving Xishuan to be raised by the current Empress Dowager, who was Noble Consort Song at the time. After Xishuan ascended the throne, Noble Consort Song naturally became the Empress Dowager. She has always been at odds with me, because originally she favored her niece, the current Noble Consort Song, as the Empress. These two have always caused me trouble. Especially now that my father has committed such a grave crime, they will definitely seize this opportunity to kick me while I'm down. Father, your daughter is doomed by you. His Majesty has arrived. I've never found these 4 words so pleasing to the ear. Xishuan, still in his dragon robe from court, hurried towards me. His voice grew closer and closer. Good thing I left an eye on the cold palace with the secret guards. Is Mother tired of living? How dare she? How dare she? The Empress, aside from kneeling with me at the coronation, does not need to kneel to anyone else on regular days, not even to me. My heart hurts so much. Ever since I gained the ability to read minds, Xishuan has completely changed in my eyes. Although he was always very good to me before, I always thought it was just the mutual respect between an emperor and his empress. Now I know he actually cherishes me this much. Xishuan helped me up from the ground, his sharp gaze sweeping over the Empress Dowager and Noble Consort Song. Mother, Yunqing is my empress. No one can touch her, not even you, Mother. I hope there won't be a next time. If there is a next time, don't blame me for being ruthless and destroying my own family. I'll go crazy and even cut off my own head. The Empress Dowager staggered back a step. Xuaner, Shen Yunqing is a traitor's daughter. You. Mother, I don't want to repeat myself. The Empress Dowager waved her hand. Never mind. Never mind. I'm old. My words carry no weight. Then Mother should rest early. I'll have the Imperial Pharmacy prepare a few doses of tranquility tea for you later. You know your words are useless, yet you still speak. Who does this empire belong to? Shire Song. Dare to touch my Empress. How many heads do you have? The Empress Dowager's face turned iron blue. Your Majesty. Noble Consort Song, holding on to the Empress Dowager, her voice sweet as she gazed at Shishun. Mother is just thinking of the country and the people. What do you mean? Mocking me? Where is my sword? Can I forever shut her up? I was afraid Shishun, in a fit of anger, would really chop down Noble Consort Song. I quietly tugged on his sleeve. Shishun's clenched fist suddenly relaxed, and he turned to hold my hand instead. Before the case against the Prime Minister is clarified, for the Empress's safety, wherever I am, the Empress will be. Schwanner! Your Majesty! Shishun gave them a stern look, and the Empress Dowager and Noble Consort Song immediately shut their mouths obediently. I'm really too clever to come up with such a perfect reason to keep the Empress by my side. Tonight, I can sleep with the Empress again. The world should feel fortunate to have such a wise and valiant emperor like me. Why are the Empress's hands so cold? Tonight, let the Imperial Kitchen add 8 more dishes to nourish the Empress. As we walked, I realized this route was not leading back to the Empress's palace. Your Majesty, where are we going? Shishun calmly said. To the Yangxin Palace? I still have memorials to review. I let out a soft "oh." Shishun's thoughts resounded again. Why did the Empress just "oh"? Does she think it's boring to accompany me in the Yangxin Palace? What to do? What to do? How should I save this? Your Majesty, I called out to Shishun, smiling at him. State affairs are important, I understand. My Empress is the best in the world. It's unbearable. The Empress's lips are so red, I really want to kiss them. Unexpectedly, Shishun actually stopped and had the guards and maids turn around. He wrapped his arms around my waist and leaned down. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I love the Empress so much. Does anyone understand me? For the first time, I felt that Shishun's kiss was so enchanting. Shishun reviewed memorials all day in the Yangxin Palace, and I accompanied him by his side, pouring tea for him, grinding ink. The setting sun's afterglow fell on his profile through the window frame. I watched and eventually fell asleep. Yunqing, wake up. Shishun patted me, pulling me to sit at the table. Dinner was already prepared. Indeed, there were 8 more dishes. He kept adding food to my bowl. I don't like these, Empress. Eat more. I specifically asked the Imperial Kitchen to prepare the Empress's favorite dishes. I'm the most considerate husband in the world. I looked at my bowl, piled as high as a small mountain. Your Majesty, I really like these dishes. Upon hearing this, Shishun's eyes lit up. He even intentionally covered his mouth and coughed twice. But there's so much. I really can't eat it all. I'd die if I ate too much. After saying that, I pushed some of the food from my bowl to his. Shishun silently ate it all. The food the Empress gives me is delicious! That was actually what you gave me first. After dinner, Shishun still had many memorials left to review. I wanted to continue accompanying him, but when I lowered my head, I suddenly smelled a stench on myself. Your Majesty, I will go bathe now. I will die if I don't bathe. Shishun put down the imperial pen in his hand and looked at me, nodding. The Empress is leaving me. The Yangxin Palace is so big, I don't want to stay here alone. Why are there so many memorials? Do these old men have to write a memorial for every little thing? Annoying. My time is precious. Before, I truly didn't know that Shishun was so different inside and out. These past few days, I've heard too many of his thoughts, nearly suffocating internally. It's been 2 days since I bathed. I asked Chuntao and Xiahe to add more plum blossoms, and I soaked happily for a long time. Where is my sword? Can I forever shut her up? I was afraid Shishun, in a fit of anger, would really chop down Noble Consort Song. I quietly tugged on his sleeve. Shishun's clenched fist suddenly relaxed, and he turned to hold my hand instead. Before the case against the Prime Minister is clarified, for the Empress's safety, wherever I am, the Empress will be. Schwanner! Your Majesty! I lived in the Yangxin Palace for over half a month. Only then did I learn that the pork knuckle that day was sent to the prison by Xuan. He was worried my parents and brother and sister-in-law would starve. Not only did he send a pork knuckle, but he also sent oil-braised shrimp, sweet and sour ribs, steamed meatballs. When I snuck into the Imperial Judiciary prison again, I caught them eating squirrel mandarin fish. Their faces had rounded a bit. I almost didn't recognize them, so I asked Xishuan, "Why do you always send food to the prison?" Xishuan replied with a serious face, "The Prime Minister is a major criminal, of course. He needs to be well taken care of." My Empress's family is also my family. I wish I could enshrine them. In a few days, when the secret guards return, there should be new information. Wait for me. I'll get your father out soon. I knew at the beginning that my father's brain was not smart enough to come up with colluding and treason, but I didn't expect Shishan's actions to be so quick, and he had already found some clues. Your Majesty, I've learned a new embroidery pattern. Let me embroider a sachet for you. Whatever the Empress wishes to embroider, go ahead. Shishuan's eyebrows and eyes were faintly blurred in the dim light. The next mother-ent, his thoughts predictably resounded. Ah, the Empress is embroidering a sachet for me. She's not embroidering a sachet. The Empress is embroidering her love for me. I must hang it in the most conspicuous place. Where should I hang it? Maybe I should wear it around my neck with a string. The next day, he held the sachet I embroidered, examining it for a mother-ent before praising. The duck is well embroidered. I remained silent for a long time, hesitatingly spoke. Your Majesty, this is a mandarin duck. Shishuan compliantly responded, This mandarin duck is well embroidered. Ah, I spoke wrongly again. The Empress won't embroider sachets for me anymore, right? As long as it's embroidered by the Empress, I like it. Even if it's a pig, I'd like it. I smiled. Your Majesty, I'll embroider a new one for you after I learn another pattern. Hearing that I was staying in the Yangxin Palace, always with Xishuan, noble consort Song was making a fuss, both openly and secretly. She openly came to the Yangxin Palace, delivering soup and snacks, peeking inside and glaring at me whenever she saw me. Both her and the food were all thrown out by Shishuan. Song Yuyan, who do you think you are? Daring to come to the Yangxin Palace. Get lost. What if the Empress thinks I'm fickle? If I didn't want to see what the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song are up to, I would never have allowed you into the palace. Entering the palace and still not behaving, truly like Grand Preceptor Song, only thinking of nonsense. Secretly, she spread rumors that I was a calamitous empress. After Shishuan found out, he was so angry that he crushed the teacup in his hand and severely punished those gossiping palace staff. Is my empress also someone you can talk about? If the Empress wants my empire, I'll hand it over with both hands. Hearing Shishuan's bold words, I couldn't help but shiver. Keep it yourself. I can't shoulder this empire with my frail shoulders. Those palace staff, I don't know what's wrong with them. Their mouths are looser than their belts. After just a few hits with a plank, they confessed that it was noble consort Song who instructed them. It was noble consort Song who directed us. Noble consort Song gave each of us 20 taels of silver to speak ill of the Empress. We didn't want to, but that was 20 taels of silver! Shishuan's eyes twitched, and he ordered people to take Noble Consort Song immediately. Noble Consort Song had just entered, and the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song followed, coming to the Yangxin Palace. Your Majesty, what exactly did Yu Jiao do wrong? Grand Preceptor Song knelt before Shishuan, tears streaming down his face. Shishuan's expression was as cold as water. Noble Consort Song called the Empress a calamitous empress. Isn't that considering me a foolish emperor? The Empress Dowager chimed in. Yu Jiao is still just a child. Shishuan fell silent. Are you treating me like a fool? Such a big child? Only your Song family's children grow old without growing wise. Others use their mouths to eat. Song Yuyan's mouth is for spreading rumors. So there are such rotten people in my imperial palace. Moreover, the Empress's father indeed committed the crime of colluding with the enemy. Yu Jiao just misspoke in a mother-ent of anxiety. The Empress Dowager said with a smile, How can someone misspeak like this? What kind of mouth is that? Empress Dowager, you are really the master of speaking nonsense with eyes wide open. Really, The older you get, the more shameless you become. Szechuan straightened his expression. I have already found evidence. It was not the Prime Minister who colluded with the enemy, but someone else. With these words, the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song were both stunned. After they left, I came out from behind the curtain. Your Majesty found evidence proving my father didn't collude with the enemy? Szechuan nodded, pulling me into his embrace. I've studied the confidential letters the Prime Minister supposedly wrote to the enemy country for a long time and found that the content was not about national secrets. The Prime Minister's handwriting is like chicken scratch! Luckily, back when I wanted to marry the Empress, I got close to the Prime Minister and specifically studied his calligraphy. Only then could I barely make out what was written. Prime Minister, well done. Don't write like this again next time. Even my mother can't recognize my father's handwriting. Poor Szechuan. What was written? Can your Majesty tell me? I want to know. I will die if I don't know. It was all recipes. After a pause, he added, ancient recipes. All right, that's something my father would do. I carefully pondered it. Those recipes actually seem pretty good. I'll have the Imperial Kitchen learn them tomorrow and prepare them for the Empress. You won't find a husband as considerate as me anywhere. Empress, you must hold on to me. I chuckled silently in my heart, turning back to hug Szechuan. Your Majesty, I like you a lot. I only wish to accompany you for life. I will die without your Majesty. After finishing, my lips landed on Szechuan's forehead. The next mother ant, his thoughts overwhelmed me. Ah, the Empress said she liked me. The Empress said she will die without me. The Empress even take the initiative to kiss me. 10 years ago, I accompanied the Prime Minister drinking all night just to get his nod to marry the Empress. After we married, the Empress has always been indifferent to me. I was almost aggrieved to death. 10 years, I finally got what I wanted. I'm going crazy! I will explode like a firework! Turns out, Szechuan and I had wasted 10 years. I thought he married me as his Empress to gain the support of the Prime Minister. Therefore, I was never too enthusiastic towards him. Moreover, he's such a person who is really different on the inside. If I hadn't heard his thoughts, I wouldn't know how long we would continue to miss out. Szechuan quickly turned the tables, and the room was filled with a warm and romantic atmosphere. A few days later, the secret guards brought new information, and Szechuan suddenly wanted to leave the palace. I lazily leaned on the concubine's couch. Your Majesty, go by yourself. I don't want to go. I'll die if I go. I don't feel safe leaving you alone in the palace. Szechuan said seriously. Empress, come with me. If you're not by my side, I will die. I also die easily. I laughed and changed clothes to accompany him. First, we went to the Imperial Judiciary Prison. As expected, my father, mother, brother, and sister-in-law had gained weight again. Szechuan stood outside the cell, talking with my father for a mother ant, telling him that this matter would soon be resolved. Prime Minister, I believe you are not a person who would collude with the enemy. My father's eyes brimmed with tears. Your Majesty trusts this old man so much. What kind of words are those, Prime Minister? Just because you are the Empress's father, shouldn't I trust you? Prime Minister. Szechuan cleared his throat. I deciphered your confidential letter. My father's gaze towards Szechuan instantly added a few more shades of admiration. After all, it's really not easy to find someone who can decipher his crazy, top-notch handwriting. Szechuan counts as one, and so far, only this one. After leaving the Imperial Judiciary Prison, Szechuan held my hand, walking from the East Market to the West Market, and back from the West Market to the East Market. He bought a bunch of useless things, looking around as he shopped. I also followed his gaze. Your Majesty, are you waiting for someone? Szechuan absent-mindedly nodded. I've almost walked through the entire East and West Markets. Why haven't those assassins come yet? Could the secret guard's information be wrong? I'll deduct all their salaries. Before I had time to ponder why he was waiting for assassins, suddenly, many black-clothed assassins emerged from all directions, holding large knives and charging towards us. Szechuan held me and dodged a blade, hiding behind a secret guard. Soon, the secret guards had cleanly dealt with those assassins. Can't they find some stronger assassins next time? I didn't even get hurt. How can we continue the play? A play? I looked at Shishuan, but found him staring at the secret guard's sword, lost in thought. I sacrificed for the greater cause. The next Mother Ent, Shishuan fiercely drew the secret guard's sword and slashed himself. I watched his bleeding arm in shock. Your Majesty! Shishuan covered his wound. It's nothing serious. Ah, it hurts so much. It was just a shallow cut and had been treated on the way back to the palace. After returning, Shishuan's first order was to summon all the on-duty imperial physicians to the Yangxin palace. He also commanded eunuch Li to catch a chicken and filled a basin full of chicken blood. Soon, the news of the emperor's assassination attempt spread throughout the entire palace. For half a day, court officials came in one after another. Even the Empress Dowager personally came to the Yangxin palace, but was solemnly persuaded to return by eunuch Li, who guards at the door. His Majesty is unwell and will not see anyone. The supposedly unwell Shishuan was squatting beside the desk in the Yangxin palace, using the imperial seal to crack walnuts. Because I said I wanted to eat walnuts. Why are these walnuts so hard to crack? But the walnuts cracked by me should taste better, right? Keep cracking. I watched anxiously as the imperial seal smashed down on the walnuts, smashing out a full plate of walnuts. Not a single corner was damaged. The top-quality jade material was truly extraordinary. The walnuts cracked by Shishuan indeed tasted sweeter. In the middle of the night, suddenly there were sounds of fighting and a blaze of fire outside. I was startled awake, pushing Shishuan beside me. Your Majesty, something's wrong. Shishuan, blurry-eyed and still disoriented, sat up. Who is it? Who disturbed my sweet dream? Oh, it's the Empress. Then it's okay. It seems like a fight has broken out outside. No worries. Let's sleep a bit longer. Saying that, he actually embraced me and fell back asleep. As dawn approached, the outside finally returned to quiet. Shishuan got dressed and the commander of the Imperial Guards was already waiting outside. Your Majesty, the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song colluded with external forces attempting to plot a rebellion, and they have all been captured. I knew it! Everything is under my control. Shishuan slightly nodded. Where are they? They are outside the Great Hall. Shishuan looked at me. Empress, accompany me to see the real traitors. The Prime Minister will soon be exonerated. I'm so excited. The Empress will soon be reunited with her family. Actually, I think they had a pretty good time in prison. Really good. The Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song were bound with ropes and brought outside the hall. Their appearances were disheveled, their hair messy, their expensive clothes were stained with mud. Seeing me and Shishuan come out, the Empress Dowager's eyes widened in surprise. Schwaner, you actually didn't die. You haven't died. How could I possibly die? Had I not pretended to be gravely injured from an assassination attempt, how could I have exposed the Empress Dowager's wild ambitions? You were tricked! Ha ha ha! With this kind of brain, you still want to compete with me. Are you crazy or am I crazy? The Empress Dowager looked Shishuan up and down several times, turned her face away and remained silent. Grand Preceptor Song, not giving up, asked, How did you discover it? Shishuan glanced sideways at Grand Preceptor Song. When you presented the Prime Minister's confidential letter of colluding with the enemy, I already had doubts. Apart from the Prime Minister, the only others who could have accessed it were people from the enemy country. I've waited so long just for you fools to walk into my trap. Grand Preceptor Song's face showed sudden realization. However, it was too late. Guards, take the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song away and imprison them. They will be executed on a later date. And also Song Yuyan. Execute them all. Chop them all. I've wanted to chop her for a long time, Your Majesty. I approached Shishuan, speaking softly. Just send noble consort Song and the remaining members of the Song family into servitude. Compared to the Empress Dowager and Grand Preceptor Song, she hadn't committed any heinous crime. Shishuan held my hand. All right, as the Empress wishes. The next day, I saw my parents, brother, and sister-in-law released from the Imperial Judiciary prison. Because they had gained so much weight, their old clothes no longer fit. Their clothes had to be tailored again. My father and mother hugged me. My brother and sister-in-law each grabbed one of my arms. Yunqing, we've missed you so much. Didn't you miss us? Why haven't you lost weight or looked haggard? Maybe it's because I didn't have any pork knuckles to eat. Epilogue. A year later, I gave birth to a little prince. The day the little prince was born, I suddenly couldn't hear Shishuan's thoughts anymore. Because he had completely stopped pretending, he roared outside the delivery room, "How can giving birth be so difficult? Can I give birth instead of the Empress? You little guy better be sensible and come out quickly. Otherwise, I'll exterminate your entire clans." Eunuch Li reminded him, "Your Majesty, that's your prince. Exterminating the entire clans isn't appropriate." The entire palace couldn't understand how the wise and valiant emperor changed overnight. Only I knew. He has always been like this.